Well, hello everyone. It is Karen Ann Harlos with you for another episode of Jurassic Dictionary, where we examine a dying, dead, or just plain interesting, unusual word about every other week, and even better if there is some cool historical spin. I'm much more known for my political commentary, but my lost calling is most definitely history. The word for today, I gleaned it from my usual source lately, the Word Museum, and the word is Swazz, S-W-A-Z-Z, and it is defined in the Word Museum as to swagger. In my research, I found there is a modern-day musician known as Swazz, but obviously that's not what we're dealing with. And there is also a modern definition I found on Wiktionary that means curl or spin added when striking a ball hard. In that particular instance, it has both a noun and verb form and also swazzy. But again, I wanted to go further back in time. But as I was doing that research, I found some even more definitions. So there was one that seemed to be related, but I'm not sure, and that was swizz, which was S-W-I-Z-Z, as in what a swizz. And that is a slang term meaning something that is disappointing or unfair. So probably nothing to do with this, but I was like, let's throw it in. There was also swazzle, and this refers to a small metal instrument held in the mouth of a Punch and Judy puppeteer, used to produce the characteristic shrill voice of Mr. Punch. And then there was the definition we talked about before, swazz, as in a football connotation, and I saw it with both two Z's and one Z. And it can refer to a curved shot or a way to shoot with a curve. Now I'm wondering if that can be transplanted into bowling. Those of you who are my friends on Twitter, you know, every Saturday, at least during the winters here in Colorado, Wayne and I go bowling, and he has a wicked curved ball. I bowl with bumpers, okay? Deal with it. And there was also a company by the name of Swazz, only one Z, and it specialized in football and produces bespoke and custom football shirts and shorts and socks for global teams. This is not a sponsored show, but Swazz, if you want to sponsor me, I'd gladly take it. And this is the one that was a bit disturbing, more than a bit disturbing, but it was only found in one spot in a citation in the Seattle Times, where it was used as an apparent abbreviation of swastika, or emblazoned with a swastika. So just one use, don't really like that so much, but wanted to mention it. So, I thought to myself, let's just go to the Oxford English Dictionary. That's where I find my really cool information. And I went there, and guess what I found? Nothing. Goose egg. And I'm thinking, was I just bamboozled by the Word Museum? I went to the reference listed by the Word Museum, and it was J. Elliott Brogden, and there was actually a book, Provincial Words and Expressions in Lincolnshire. And I love that title. It got me interested. It was published in London in 1866. But I had to ask myself, was the Word Museum just really reaching here and picking some really obscure, rarely used slang? And it certainly seems like it. I looked around and tried to pick up that original book, but original copies were over $75, which is a bit too rich for my taste, and there were no excerpts on Google. So I leave this one to your judgment, dear listeners. This seems like a very brief lifespan novelty word, which kind of bums me out. But you know, when you're doing etymological treasure digging, you know, sometimes you're going to come up with the bottle cap and not always the gold coin. You know, I like doing these word search and rescues, but this time, not so sure. Not so sure we came up with a winner, but again, I leave it up to you. So that's it for this episode. If you like what I'm doing, will you please subscribe? And also consider my other channels. My main one is Pink Flame of Liberty, where I discuss politics and sometimes political history, go figure, from a radical libertarian perspective, and also Pink Parliamentarian, as I am a registered parliamentarian for hire, and I give bi-weekly tips and hints on Robert's Rules of Order. And I actually do those shows on the opposite week of this show. So if you subscribe to both, you'll have something each week. And if you go to Pink Flame of Liberty, you got something nearly all the time, because I do a lot of live streaming there. But until next time, I really appreciate you joining me. And remember to have fun with language and paint a more descriptive world. Thank you.